Alrighty, in reading, you should have this little book out. Turn to page. Let's see, 114, 115. What can animals in stories teach us? Animal lessons. You read along. Do you know the story of the tortoise and the hare? The hare is headed in a race with a slow tortoise, so he decides to take a nap. The tortoise ends up winning the race. Well, what can they teach us? Animals in stories can teach us lessons, right? Animals in stories help us learn about each other. Talk with a partner about the lessons we learn from animals in stories and write them on the web. So, for example, they have slow and steady wins the race. That's a nice little lesson we can learn from this story. So as we go, you can keep adding to your word web, your concept web, about what lessons we learn. And the vocabulary, we went over that today. So make sure you know what believe, delicious, feast, fond, lessons, remarkable, snatch, and stories all mean. Then we went on to read The Boy Who Cried Wolf. The essential question, what can animals in stories teach us? Read to find out what a shepherd boy learns. All right, here we go. So read along. Long ago, a shepherd boy sat on a hilltop watching the village sheep. He was not fond of his job. He didn't like it one bit. You can tell fond, one of our vocabulary means like something a lot, right? But if he's not fond of it, then he doesn't like it very much. He would have liked something wonderful to happen, but nothing remarkable ever did. Remarkable, something wonderful that you want to talk about it because it's so amazing, like the rainbow after Noah's family comes off of the ark after the flood, right? There's a rainbow in the sky. That was remarkable. Or the Red Sea parting in the Bible with Moses and the people crossing through on dry land. That was remarkable, right? Those are things you want to talk about and remark about. The shepherd, I'll continue here. The shepherd boy watched the clouds move softly by to stay busy. He saw horses, dogs, and dragons in the sky. He made up stories with these things as characters. So made up tales, T-A-L-E. Not a dog tale, but a tale, like a fairy tale, story. They have characters and things like that. So he would watch the clouds and see the different shapes that clouds make and make up some stories, right? And you can see up here, do you see the dog and the horse and the dragon in the clouds? So he's bored. Have you ever been bored and don't know what to do? So he's going to make his own excitement, which ends up not being a good thing. Then one day he had a better idea. He took a deep breath and cried out, "Wolf! Wolf! The wolf is chasing the sheep!" The villagers ran up the hill to help the boy. When they got there, they saw no harmful wolf. The boy laughed. "Shepherd boy, don't cry wolf unless there really is a wolf," said the villagers. They went back down the hill. What do you think happens next? This is called predicting what you think. Make a prediction. What do you think is going to happen next? All right, let's see if you're right. That afternoon, the boy cried out, "Wolf, wolf, the wolf is chasing the sheep." The villagers ran to help the boy again. They saw no wolf. The villagers were angry. "Don't cry wolf when there is no wolf," they said. The shepherd boy just smiled. The villagers went quickly down the hill again. They had work to do, didn't they? They didn't have time for his games. What do you think is going to happen next? Make a prediction. Maybe you know this story. That afternoon, the boy saw a real wolf. He did not want the wolf to grab any of the sheep. The boy thought the wolf would snatch one of them for a delicious, tasty meal. Snatch means to grab quickly, right? And delicious means super yummy and tasty. A sheep would be a big feast for a wolf. Feast is that big fancy meal, right? Lots of food, like Thanksgiving feast that you probably just had not too long ago. He quickly jumped to his feet and cried, "Wolf, wolf!" The villagers thought he was tricking them again, so they did not come. That night, the shepherd boy did not return with their sheep. The villagers found the boy weeping real tears. "There really was a wolf here," he said. "The flock ran away. When I cried out, 'Wolf, wolf,' no one came. Why didn't you come?" A kind man talked to the boy as they walked slowly back to the village. "In the morning, we'll help you look for the sheep," he said. "You have just learned one of life's important lessons. This is something you need to know. Nobody believes a person who tells lies. It is always better to tell the truth." So the Bible teaches us this too, right? God says, "Thou shalt not lie." He doesn't want us to lie. He wants us to be truth tellers. He's a truth teller. His word is full of truth. It is truth. So when we want to know is something true or not, and we can line it up with the Bible. And if the Bible says it's true, it's true. If the Bible says it's not true, then it's not. So important lessons, right? These are things we need to know. So use context clues when you see these words, maybe a new word that you've never seen before. Look around it and see what words help me understand what words mean. Believes, right? You want people to believe you when you talk, right? So always tell the truth, and that way they'll believe you. Because if you tell lies a lot and then they don't believe you, and then when you really need them to believe you, they're not going to believe you. Just like the boy who cried wolf. So this is an important lesson. All right. The next page talks about making predictions. That is what we were doing. Use what you read in the story to help you predict or guess what might happen next. So you think, well, based on what I know, this is what I think will happen next. You're making a good guess. On page 120, the boy who cried wolf, I predicted the boy will upset the villagers. And then you can read on page 121 that the villagers were angry with the boy. So I confirmed my prediction, right? The villagers they were angry. They went quickly back down the hill. And then when the boy saw the wolf, what did you predict would happen? Did you think the villagers won't come because they think he's lying again? Then you were right. The place that tells that is right here. This is called finding text evidence, where you can go back in the story and find evidence for your answer. So if you think, well, they're not going to come, and I was right on my prediction. The villagers thought he was tricking them again, so they did not come. I can prove my answer right there by going back in the story and finding text evidence. Problem and solution. A lot of stories start with a problem, and you get to see how they come about to a solution. The plot is often about the problem in the story. The solution is how the characters solve the problem by the end of the story. So at the beginning of The Boy Who Cried Wolf, the shepherd boy is bored, so he cries wolf when there is no wolf. Then steps to the solution. So he does it again, the villagers get upset with him, and the solution is when he does it yet again, the villagers do not come, and that time there was a real wolf. So the solution is basically the lesson of the story, right? Don't lie, so that so people will believe you when you talk. Fables. Fables are fun, a fun type of story. Genre is a type of literature. We've talked about expository, that give information, we've talked about realistic fiction. Well, here's another kind of fiction. They're called fables. The Boy Who Cried Wolf is a fable. A fable is a made-up story that teaches a lesson. So that's what kind of makes a fable a little different than any other story that's a fiction story, right? Not every fiction story is a fable. Fables are distinct when they teach a lesson, and they have a beginning, middle, and an end. And hint, hint, often fables, not always, but often they have animals that act like people. All right, I can use, oh, there goes my dogs. Sorry. I can use what I read to tell that The Boy Who Cried Wolf is a fable. It is a made-up story that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. In the beginning of the fable, the shepherd boy is bored. He plays a trick on the villagers. In the middle of the story, there we go. Sorry about that. In the middle of the story, the villagers try to teach the boy a lesson. So the boy learns a lesson at the end of the story. So it had a beginning, he's bored, a middle, he keeps tricking people, and the end, where he learns a lesson not to trick people. Suffixes. Okay, so a suffix is a word part or a syllable added to the end of a word. You can separate the root word from a suffix, such as full or ly, to figure out what the word means. I'm not sure what the word harmful means. The root word is harm, which means to hurt. The suffix is ful, which means full of. I think the word harmful means full of hurt. When they got there, they saw no harmful wolf. So you can see too, when we take the L off the word full, that's when it becomes the suffix on the end of a root word, like harm. Full of harm. Like wonderful is full of wonder, right? And softly, ly means in a way that is. So you could say in a way that is soft. And on these two final pages, it's how to become a better writer. Writers explain their ideas by using supporting details. Reread the passage from The Boy Who Cries Wolf, and then describe details what details the writer uses to help you understand how the villagers feel. Like they're angry, right? They run quickly down, things like that. Then this is a second grader, Lisa, who rewrote the beginning of the fable. And let's check out her work. The Boy Who Cried Wolf. The shepherd boy was bored. He was so bored he fell asleep. He dreamed a wolf came. He was very scared. He woke up and screamed, "Wolf! There's a wolf running this way." The villagers came running up the hill. So she has a little bit of a different take on the story. At the beginning, she has him falling asleep and dreaming about a wolf. So she had to make some revisions, like she needed a capital letter here and a period here. She had two woke, so you only need one, right? He woke up, not woke up. And villager needed to become villagers, so we needed to add an S there to make that plural. But some of the details that she added was, he was bored, he dreamed, he was scared, they came running, right? Those details, using basically adjectives and adverbs, adding details, make it more interesting to read. All right, so that's it for this book today. See you in the next video.